Thank you, Michael, for introducing yourself, setting a good example. So the fun part will be that Heather is not able to join us today, so I will be adding people and also doing the EarthShare introduction. So if there's a little bit of delay at any point, that's because I'm doing two things at once. So I'm going to get started with our introduction, and I will hopefully have to do some of that two-handed work here. So once again, welcome to Lunchtime Bites with EarthShare North Carolina. This is our second week of this series, and today we have speakers from Sustain Charlotte and Raffi USA. Very excited to hear from them, so I will not talk too much. Just for those of you who are new to EarthShare or unfamiliar with the series, I wanted to give a little bit of an introduction. So EarthShare North Carolina is 30 years old this year. We're very excited to have been able to impact the North Carolina environment for 30 years. And we'll be rolling out some information about that as the year goes on, but it was October 1991 that EarthShare got started. We are a coalition of 26 North Carolina-based nonprofits, as well as we have affiliations with over 70 national nonprofits through the EarthShare network. And our goal is to make an impact. And some of the ways we do that is through protecting the health of our lakes, rivers, and coasts, preserving wild and working lands such as agricultural lands. We're also protecting wildlife out there. We're trying to create and promote clean air policies for our kids, and then doing that research to help with climate change. So our members are doing so much in all of these areas, and you're probably seeing their work even if you don't know it. So this is our current group of nonprofits. It switches a little bit every year based on who's applying, but you see Raffi up there in the corner, and then I can never find. Gosh, are you on there, Meg?
In the first column.
Oh, okay. Making me nervous. Okay, since it's entirely my responsibility to make sure this is right. So these are nonprofits, and we're glad to have them. They all do awesome things in those areas that I outlined previously. So our purpose is to connect people like you with the work of these organizations through workplace engagement programs. And also right now we're working on campaigns. So we have a workplace giving campaign, either through payroll deduction or through if you're a municipal partner. This is a season that we are reaching out to those campaigns and managing them to help fund our nonprofits who are doing these wonderful things throughout our state. So if you are participating in a workplace giving campaign right now, or if you have something like Benevity or Bright Funds in your workplace, I have our EIN up on the screen, and then also our SECC code for our state partners. If you go into our website and you want to donate, you can donate to individual organizations such as Sustain Charlotte and Raffi, or you can give to all of our organizations at once. So enough of me talking about these things. I'm going to introduce our speakers, and they're going to give you some great information about what their specific organizations are doing. So Meg Fensel is the Director of Engagement and Impact at Sustain Charlotte, and she does wonderful work and helps me in so many ways with our programs. And Michelle Osborne is the Senior Program Manager at Raffi USA. some agitation because I always say it the opposite way of what I'm supposed to be thinking it. And Michelle will share some awesome things going on at Raffi. So I am gonna stop sharing and hand the mic over to Meg, if I can find you here. And I will let you take it away.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Rachel, for those kind words. And I will share my screen here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Sustain Charlotte, we are a nonprofit organization based here in Charlotte, and our mission is to inspire choices that lead to a healthy, equitable, vibrant community for generations to come. So we use a simple definition of sustainability, which is our ability to meet our needs today without compromising our ability to meet our needs in the future. So both ourselves in the future as well as future generations. And when we use that word needs, we all have very tangible needs to stay happy and healthy. We need a place to live. We need safe and healthy food. We need clean air to breathe. We need clean and sufficient water. We need convenient and affordable ways to get around, just basic transportation. For our mental, emotional, and physical well-being, we need access to parks and open spaces, even in an urban area. We need energy. And to pay for all of those needs, we need a job or some source of income. But we're facing a real sustainability challenge. And I'm going to talk about Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, but many of these challenges are applicable to any community, and especially to those communities that are seeing rapidly growing populations. This is a graph of Mecklenburg County's population growth between the 1790s and today. And you can see how it really took off in the middle half of the 20th century. And so it's estimated that we'll have 400,000 new residents by the year 2040. And that's just within the city limits of Charlotte. So tremendous population growth is predicted. And that raises a lot of questions about our sustainability. Where will people live? How are we going to get around with traffic congestion already being bad? Will people have access to their daily needs like jobs, education, parks, healthy food? What will the air quality and the water quality be like? Will we have enough water to meet the needs of our residents and our industries? And will we still have forest and farmland? And to show you how our land use has changed in the area, I want to show you a series of 3 maps from the Center for Applied GIS Science at UNC Charlotte. And this is a short presentation, so I won't go into a lot of detail. But basically, we're looking at the region in North Carolina with Mecklenburg County as that white star there in the center. And in 1976, you can see that almost all of this land was forest and farmland, 95% of it. Only 3% was developed, and the population at that time in the entire region was just over 1 million people. And the human footprint, which is the amount of developed land per person, was only 0.08 acres per person. So we're going to hop in our time machines here on our lunch break and go forward 30 years. So buckle up. And this is what our region looked like in 2006. So you can already see dramatic changes, an 8-fold increase in the amount of developed land. The population over that 30-year time period didn't quite double, but look at the human footprint. That increased by a factor of 5. So what we're really seeing there is a pattern of sprawl. So this is an estimate of what our region could look like by 2030 if we continue that same unsustainable development pattern. And so we can see a lot of impacts of sprawl in our community in terms of our environment, our social equity, and access to an equitable and healthy economy for all people. We saw a tremendous loss of trees. Mecklenburg County lost 1/3 of its tree canopy, and Charlotte lost 49% of its tree canopy just between 1985 and 2008. We also experienced a lot of polluted creeks as our amount of impervious or paved surface increases. That reduces the environment's ability to filter stormwater, and it also causes storm water to just rush into the creeks and cause the physical erosion that you see on the creek banks here. And we're also sending too much trash to our landfills, and that's really a problem in a rapidly growing area. We can't just keep building landfills. We also have air quality that is right on the brink of being outside of the limits that the federal government has set to be protective of human health. And we have a lot of dangerous streets for walking and biking. We have growing traffic congestion, and we also have a lot of households that are spending way too much of their income on transportation, largely because we're so spread out and there are few transportation choices. And many of those factors combined are exacerbating Charlotte's poor ranking for upward economic mobility of children born into poverty. We're actually dead last. So Sustain Charlotte really aims to address these sustainability challenges through a lens of smart growth. So really quickly, I'll define smart growth. There's 10 principles, a mix of land uses, taking advantage of compact design. So there you can see some stores stacked on top of each other instead of spread out. Creating a range of housing opportunities and choices for people at different stages of life, different income levels, different needs. Creating walkable neighborhoods so people don't have to drive for every trip. And really fostering a distinctive, attractive community with a strong sense of place. It's about preserving open space, farmland, natural beauty, and critical environmental areas, directing development towards existing communities instead of sprawling out into undeveloped areas, providing a variety of transportation choices, making development decisions that are predictable, fair, and cost-effective for both residents and developers. And really throughout all of this whole process of encouraging smart growth, we really want to make sure that the community and stakeholders are collaborating in development decisions. So finally, I just want to share some examples of ways that Sustain Charlotte supports smart growth and transportation equity, and hopefully some of these will be inspiring to you all. So anybody can advocate for neighborhood connectivity. Most neighborhoods have some type of meeting or larger scale community meetings at the city level where you can go and talk about the need for your community to be connected by walking, biking, and public transit. Here in Charlotte, we've set a Vision Zero goal at the city to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries by 2030. We know that's going to take a lot of changes to the way that investments are made. We also champion public transit. If we can get more people able to access buses and light rail and other forms of public transit and to be able to walk to them safely, that's fewer cars that we have to have out on the roads. You can also organize a mobility audit with your neighbors. And I know audit is not the most fun word, but it really is a lot of fun to get out with clipboards and notepads and make some observations about what the experience of walking is like in your neighborhood and how it can be better. And you can share that with your city transportation staff. And also supporting new bike infrastructure is really important. These are brand new protected bike lanes on Parkwood Avenue, just outside of Uptown Charlotte. And you can see there, the street has been transformed from 2 lanes for cars in either direction to a lane for bicycles. And then it also protects the pedestrians on the sidewalk. So our streets are our largest shared public space, but almost all of the space in them is given to people in cars. So we are really asking for a more equitable distribution of street space. And we also stand up for parks and greenways. So those separated spaces where people like to walk and ride bikes, as well as preserving wetland habitats. And we host the Sustainability Awards every year to recognize the great work being done by other organizations and businesses and government departments in our area. We're not the only organization doing this, certainly. And finally, I just want to encourage any of you who may be in the Charlotte area to join us 2 Sundays from now for our Biketoberfest event. It's a celebration of riding a bike for transportation, and you get a passport and you go around to different locations around the city and earn stamps in your passport. And then we have an after party. So we're going to keep it socially distanced and safe. You can learn more about Biketoberfest, learn more at Biketoberfest CLT. And finally, you can sign up for our weekly e-newsletter and follow us on social media. And so with that, I will turn the screen back over and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Meg. That was so fast. Great job, great job. All right. Well, I will start to turn it over to Michelle. If anyone had a question for Meg, you can pop it in the chat. Some things I'm curious about, but we can save that towards the end. Michelle, there you are.
All right, thank you. So I will just share my screen. So hey everyone, thanks for listening here for a minute as I share about Raffi. So my name is Michelle Osborne, and I am a senior program manager at Raffi USA. Raffi stands for Rural Advancement Foundation International. You can just call us Raffi. We are a farm advocacy nonprofit based in Pittsburgh, North Carolina, but we work throughout the state, and in some cases, depending on the program, regionally and nationally as well. So Raffi's mission, you can see right here, Raffi USA challenges the root causes of unjust food systems, supporting and advocating for economically, racially, and ecologically just farm communities. And the way that we live out our mission statement is through Raffi's different programs. So I'm going to share a little bit about the different programs now. So our first program I want to talk about is our Farm Advocacy program. Through our Farm Advocacy program, we provide expertise and guidance to save or strengthen farms. From working with lenders to dealing with disasters, our work is tailored to meet the individual needs of each farmer. We provide expert knowledge in complex lending situations combined with more than 2 decades of experience fighting to keep family farmers on their land. We serve diverse farms across the Southeast, ranging from small specialty operations to livestock and commodity operations. We also operate a hotline for farmers to call when they need immediate help. Through this program, we help farmers navigate federal disaster programs and also provide assistance in negotiations with lenders and creditors. The way I kind of describe this sometimes is social workers for farmers, really helping farmers connect with the different resources that they need, especially when they're in financial crisis or crisis related to disasters that they've experienced. Next, I want to talk about our Farmers of Color Network. Our Farmers of Color Network was founded in 2017 to support farmers of color throughout the Southeast. Farmers of color, as you might know, have long been disadvantaged by systemic and institutional racism, including discrimination in accessing credit, loans, resources, and markets. As a result, farmers of color make up just 4% of all farmers in the US right now. So our network provides farmer-led technical assistance and funding opportunities to farmers, as well as hosting farm tours, providing networking events and gatherings as well to highlight ancestral traditions and knowledge. And so right now the program serves farmers throughout the Southeast, and we have plans to grow it even wider. The biggest thing that we've been doing lately with our Farmers of Color network is providing infrastructure grants to farmers, as well as you can see here, this is a Farmer Buyer Connect event where we met at a restaurant in Durham and had buyers from restaurants, grocery stores, etc., all together with farmers of color who are interested in selling into those markets. So that's really exciting work that we're doing there. Our Expanding Farmers Market Access program is another really vital program of Raffi. Through this program, we work with farmers markets across the state to coordinate a program that matches SNAP or EBT shoppers' purchases dollar for dollar, so effectively doubling the buying power of food insecure households. So through the Fresh Bucks and Double Bucks programs that we help farmers markets operate, buyers who are on SNAP can, if they're wanting to purchase $20 worth of produce, through this program, they can actually have access to $40 worth of produce. And so we work with farmers markets across North Carolina in these programs to make that possible. Our Come to the Table program, the mission of this program is to end hunger by developing connections to create a just food system where food is a human right and those who work in the system have ownership and are treated with dignity. We believe that faith communities have a key role to play in this work. Come to the Table's primary strategy is connection. So where all of Raffi USA's other programs really work primarily with farmers or farmers markets, Come to the Table works primarily with faith communities and community organizations, connecting them with farmers and local food systems. And so we hold events and conferences, and we also offer mini grants to faith communities that will use those grants to purchase from farmers in their community, particularly farmers of color that we connect them with. And then those faith communities use that produce in their food pantries, their soup kitchens, etc. So we're trying to connect farmers and food insecure communities and faith communities all together through that program. Our Challenging Corporate Power program, the goal of this program is to build a better food system through equity and accountability. And the focus is on livestock growers particularly. And we work to reduce corporate power in agriculture by holding corporations and government accountable to curb the adverse effects of livestock concentration, and through building alternative, inclusive livestock economies that are more equitable. So we work with livestock growers across the Southeast to help them be able to tell their stories of difficulties that they have faced, ways that different livestock companies could be held more accountable, to tell those stories to their elected officials in the hope that there would be policy change. So you can see this was a trip to DC where we brought some poultry growers a couple years ago. And here's another picture of farmers telling their stories to elected officials in DC, obviously pre-pandemic. Our Just Foods program is another really great program of Raffi. This program was developed because we saw the need for the development of organic commodity seeds that were designed for the climate of the Southeast, right? So a lot of the current organic seeds, commodity seeds especially, were really developed with the Midwest in mind. But we work with farmers who wanted to be able to grow organic corn, organic soybeans, etc., here in North Carolina. So we've been working with a farmer co-op to help them develop these different seed varieties. So you can see this is a farm that we work with that grows organic corn. And we've been working with them to develop that seed. Our policy work, I'll just share briefly. We work to educate the public on different issues that are coming up and to empower them to contact their representatives. And so we've launched Take Action Tuesdays the past year or so, where we lift up an issue that's happening, whether it's a bill or different things like that, and provide people a platform to send an email directly to their elected officials. So we've saw just so much engagement around that, and our latest campaign has been around getting climate smart and climate friendly ag into the budget reconciliation that's happening in Congress right now. So that's what we're working on most recently. I'll stop there. You can find us online at raffiusa.org, and we are Raffi USA on all the social medias. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I think both these organizations are doing such current, thoughtful, applicable things, helping our communities, in addition to helping our environments. So we're going to do one more thing on this call, which is a raffle. Each of our speakers will tell you what they have, and then they will pick a number in their heads between 1 and 100, and then everyone who wants to be part of the raffle can put their choice of that number in the chat. So while folks are thinking of their number between 1 and 100, Michelle, since you have sharing privileges, you can go ahead and say what your raffle prize is.
Sure, yeah. Let me share my screen. Let me get it set up here. So I'm going to share some tea from one of the farmers that we work with, Green Heifer Farms, located here in Cary, I believe, in that area. So this is a farmer in our Farmer of Color network, and she grows the tea leaves that she uses to create this tea. So I'll be raffling this sample pack of her teas.
Which is so cool. I'm like a tea person, so this is like I can't win the raffle, but I will be looking at that farmer. And Meg, what are you sharing today?
We are raffling off a Sustain Charlotte 17-ounce stainless steel threaded and insulated water bottle, which we will mail to the winner. Keep your drinks cold or hot.
Yeah, that's one of the fancy ones. Okay, so speakers, don't look at the chat. I'll look at the chat. Don't get swayed by numbers in there. All right, Meg, what is your number?
So my number is 88, and I chose that because I just bought a little dilapidated house in the mountains that's 88 years old. So it was a big project I was working on this weekend, and will be for quite some time.
That is great. we do have two 87s, so I'm gonna need Eric and Michelle Michelle Nasir to choose different numbers. Okay. And Meg, you're gonna have to choose a different number. Oh, okay. All right. Michelle says Eric can win. Eric, you won! Cool water bottle. All right. That's okay. That's okay. All right. And Michelle, there's a lot of Michelles floating around. What's your number?
My soccer jersey in high school was number 18, so I'm gonna go with 18.
I don't think I saw any teens. All right, say 27, 25, 21. Yeah, I think it's Vicky Lee. Vicky Lee! You won the tea. Awesome.
Hey, great. Oh, great.
So, since we have a couple minutes left, Michelle, can you tell me what I just messed myself up. What Raffi has been doing specifically since the pandemic started to help farmers with pandemic relief?
Yes, we have been offering, so I mentioned our farm advocacy program where we help farmers in crisis, particularly around disasters, natural disasters, but COVID has also been a disaster for farmers in a variety of ways. And so we've been offering household relief grants to farmers. So those grants go towards basically household needs or additional costs that they've incurred because of COVID. So yeah, we've been, I wish I had the numbers off of my head right now, but I'm sure I could find them, but we've offered numerous relief grants to farmers over the past year and a half.
Fantastic. I did have one question for Meg too. You mentioned the Vision Zero goal. That was not in my universe yet. Can you just give like the top level of what that includes?
Yes, that is it's actually a global effort to end traffic fatalities and serious injury. So the term Vision Zero comes from the idea that there's no target number to aim for that would be morally acceptable aside from zero. And Charlotte adopted a Vision Zero goal back in 2017 when City Council updated their transportation action plan. And we still have a lot of streets that are not completely safe for walking and biking and getting to and from bus stops, let alone driving a car. And so we know that making our streets safe for everyone is going to require education. It's going to require better engineering. It's going to require equitable enforcement that does not discriminate against racial and ethnic groups. And it's going to take a whole community commitment to really prioritize human safety and human lives over getting where we need to go as quickly as possible. So the city of Charlotte has been very proactive since adopting that goal. They created a Vision Zero action plan and task force, which we have participated in for the past more than 3 years. And cities across the country are facing more challenges during the pandemic. The pandemic has really changed our commuting patterns and traffic patterns, and much of that has been beneficial with people driving less to go to and from work. But sometimes when there's less congestion on the roads, that gives a visual cue to people to go faster. And so it often creates more of a hazard for people who are walking and biking. And so we're really trying to look at best practices from across the country and across the world to be responsive to the changes that are happening in our community. And it's not just the way that people are driving, it's also the vehicles that we're driving. The vehicles have gotten much bigger. So almost like an arms race of feeling like you need to be in a big vehicle to be safe. But that really creates a much higher fatality rate when pedestrians and people on bikes are hit by those large vehicles. So that's one big challenge. And there's just a rise of distracted driving. Those cell phones are a great tool in the right situation, but not when we're behind the wheel. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done to make our streets safer. But we also believe that zero is a realistic number. Oslo, Norway actually achieved Vision Zero and didn't have any people killed on their streets. I think they hit that in 2019 or 2020.
Wow.
And it definitely requires a big commitment from the community to really prioritize human life.
Wow. I'm so glad you're working on that because it's something maybe we don't all think about unless you are a pedestrian or biking, and it can be very dangerous out there.
That's one of the reasons that we encourage communities to do those mobility audits or walkability audits is we often experience our community from behind the wheel of a car. And sometimes even the places where we work, we only get there ever by driving. So it's a real experience in empathy to literally kind of walk a mile or half a mile in the shoes of people that do have to walk and ride bikes and ride public transit for transportation. So many times people have participated in those and come away from them with a new sense of what it's like to experience that community outside of a car.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing more about that. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing about your responsiveness to the pandemic. And again, for your presentations. Thanks for everybody for coming. We'll get Vicky and Michelle connected, and Eric and Meg